ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। शांति शांति। Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening and welcome to day 6 of the Atma Chalisa Parayanam. Yesterday we spoke about the experiential learning process, and which is a process that we are going to deploy all through this 40-day period. And this process consists of 3 steps. One is Shravana, which is listening. Second is Manana, which is self-inquiry, which means ruminating and analyzing and rationalizing and reasoning on all that we have heard from the master. And if there are any doubts, then we clarify those doubts either by reading about it, which is called Swadhyaya, that means self-study of the teachings and scriptures, and seeking queries from the master and seeking clarification. And the third step is called Nididhyasana, which means living the essence of the teachings that we have heard, practicing them in our life so that we become one with the teachings, or the teachings become a part of our embodiment, our expression, and our way of life. So this is what we discussed, and therefore the key to that is that, listening to the good words of the master or the guru are not good enough if we do not put them into practice. So the mantra, the magical mantra, is the 3P mantra, which is practice, practice, and practice. And to practice, we need to be able to do a lot of manana, or self-inquiry, reflection, vichara, because if we do not do that self-inquiry, if we do not think about it, if we do not clarify our doubts, we'll never be able to put it into practice because we will have issues around it. So the process of manana is actually the vital cog that encourages us to practice it. And as we also spoke yesterday, that we must remember that when we practice it, or when we put teaching into practice, there is actually nothing to lose and everything to gain. Because what are we doing? We are trying to test it out. Like a scientist, we're trying to figure out whether it works for us or not. And so therefore, if it works for us, we're going to get something out of it. There is going to be a transformation in us. We're going to experience something absolutely new. But if, for example, let's say it does not work for us, it is not going to bring us any harm at all. You would at least understand that this perhaps, was not the correct teaching. So therefore, there is nothing at stake. There is just absolutely nothing to lose. So even if you have a doubt, one way of tackling that doubt is through faith on the master. Second is on analysis, which is manana. And thirdly is by finding it out, direct evidence, direct experience, by putting it into practice. So ultimately, it's all about practicing. They say if we gain a lot of knowledge and we do not do anything about it, we just keep listening and we keep listening to many masters, one master, and we do not put that into practice, then it is like eating a lot of food and eating excess food than what is required, and that food remains in our stomach as undigested food, and it gives us indigestion. So knowledge without practicing it, knowledge on which we have not ruminated, and we just keep constantly always listening to it, is actually of no use to us. In fact, it creates ego in us, because what happens? We keep listening to masters, we keep reading books, we become very knowledgeable theoretically, we become great scholars in that. We can address a lot of people, and we can impress people with our oratory skills and our command over language and knowledge of let's say the Vedas and Upanishads. But at the end of the day, since we have never put it into practice in our own lives, actually it becomes a complete hollow, it does not sound as truth. It actually sounds very artificial. And because we know a lot, we become full of ego. And the one of the indications of a realized master is the humility of the master, and that humility, which we saw Maharishi Ramana and Satya Sai Baba, the humility that we see in Muji Baba, for example, in one of the latest contemporaries. That humility is so beautiful; it touches your heart, and that's what we are aspiring as Gyanis, as people who are getting into the journey of experiencing ourselves. That's the humility. Because humility comes when a person has only and completely melted into that love. So today we are coming into day 6, and the topic for today is the power of Satsanga. What we are doing now and what we have been doing for the past lot of time together is Satsanga, and I cannot express in words the importance of Satsanga, because no matter how many masters have spoken about the effectiveness, power of Satsanga, and masters like Shankaracharya put it very eloquently and very effectively, when he said, Satsangatve Nissangatvam, Nissangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Niscaltatvam, Niscaltatve Jeevanmukti. So what it means is that Satsanga, which means that we are keeping the company of truth and seekers of truth. Now, what is that Satsanga? What is this truth? What truth is we talking about when we say Satsanga? Satsanga is 2 words, Sat and Sanga. Sat means truth and Sanga means company. So literally it means company of truth. But how do we keep the company of truth? And what is this truth? Truth is that which is permanent. Truth is which is not subject to change. Truth is which is not subject to death, disease, or decay. Truth is changeless. Truth means what was yesterday, what is today, and what shall remain in a changeless state, that is truth. So, what is this truth? What is this Sat that our rishis have been speaking about when they say Sat Chit Ananda or when they say Satsanga? What is this Sat? It is said it is the existential truth, that right from the time existence came in, it has been, and till date, at this present moment, it has not changed. It remains eternal. And that is the Atman or the Brahman, which is constant, which has been, is, and shall always remain. It is that consciousness. And that is the truth that we are seeking as a goal of our life. That truth which is within us. That truth which is the goal of these 40-day Parayanam that we are seeking to achieve at the end of 40 days. That truth, and that truth alone, which never changes, which is the witness, which is unaffected, which is unchanged. And that is the truth in Satsanga. So we are engaged in a company of those people who are seeking that same truth. So in our session, as of today and as always, we are always been exploring, and we continue to explore that truth, which is the divinity, which is that changeless reality, which is inside us. So anywhere where this truth is discussed, where there is a guru who's talking about this truth, where there are others who are seeking this truth earnestly, that is, all such gatherings are called Satsanga. Okay? And so Shankaracharya Ji has said that Satsangatve Nissangatvam. That what is the benefit of Satsanga? What does Satsanga lead to? He says Satsanga leads to Nissangatvam. Nissangatvam means that it leads to detachment. That when we constantly keep hearing the truth again and again, like we do every Saturday, or like we are now doing for 40 days every day, it constantly serves as a reminder to us. Why do we need this reminder? Why do we need to hear this truth, or why do we need to surround ourselves with this truth? It's because our mind has been conditioned into a reality which is transient and impermanent. In this world, we are constantly focused at what is happening outside of us, and therefore our mind has got deeply conditioned into a world which it thinks of it as real. And therefore, a constant reminder helps us to start unconditioning ourselves, is to remove the barriers and the preconceived ideas and these notions that we carry so strictly and so strongly in our mind. So that's why we, even on YouTube, when we listen to various masters, when we listen to these, videos, what are we doing? We are constantly reinforcing in our mind and reminding ourselves of this truth. We are surrounding ourselves with the truth all the time. And therefore, slowly, the mind starts to accept it, and it starts to become detached from this world which we have been engrossed and attached to, and which we have been thinking of as the real. And that is the reason why every time in every session, before we start, one of the prayers we say is Asato Ma Sadgamaya. We pray to the Lord Almighty, we pray to the universal consciousness, and we pray that please lead us from the unreal world, what is which is transient, which is temporary. Please lead us from that which we are bound by, which we are attached to, which we are absolutely engrossed in, and which we have mistakenly considered to be as real. Please, O Divine Consciousness, lead us from this unreal world to the real world, which is changeless and which is within us, which is the constant. So that's the prayer we are starting every session of ours. And so therefore, that company and that understanding of the truth and that reminder helps us to detach from this world, which is a world full of sorrow, and which is a world which is full of all likes and dislikes, good and bad and ugly. And slowly this satsanga helps us to start becoming detached. And as I keep hearing from all those who've been attending our sessions, and every time when I hear from you, one common thing that comes is, we do not any longer like all those attractions of the world which were pulling us. We like our silence. We like to be ourselves, by ourselves. And slowly, what is happening to each one of us, we are getting detached. We are moving away from those things which used to attract and lure us. So, Satsangatve Nissangatvam, Nissangatve Nirmohatvam. So, what does this detachment do to us then? The detachment then leads us to the removal of the delusion in our mind, where we considered the outer world, the world of all these attractions, to be not real. And that delusion in our mind starts to go away. We are able to see things in a perspective. We slowly develop a discrimination to be able to differentiate between what is permanent and what is impermanent. And therefore, whatever is impermanent, we start to question that we have a choice to make, because time for all of us is limited during a day. Now, what are we doing with this time? Where are we investing our time and energy and effort during the day? Am I investing more and more of my time in the world which is temporary, which is fleeting, which is constantly changing, where at every corner there lies a possible discomfort or a unhappiness? Or am I trying to make an effort into that which is going to give me permanent state of bliss or happiness, right? So we start to discriminate between the real and the unreal, the permanent and the impermanent. And that will come with when we get to a point of Nirmohatvam. This delusion, this delusion starts to melt away. And what does this Nirmohatvam do? Nirmohatve Niscaltatvam. That this once this delusion, this veil is removed between the real and unreal, it makes us become equanimous, steady. We are no longer impacted by these sorrows of the world, nor are we attracted to the joys of the world. So we become equal-minded, sthit prajna. We become steady. We develop fortitude, and we start to see everything without getting either agitated or getting excited. And it is called sambhava, equal-mindedness. That is what we are talking about. And that equal-mindedness, that Niscaltatve Jeevanmukti, and that equal-mindedness, that is when the witness awakens, the witness within us, and is able to see everything as a play, as an illusion, everything as unreal. It looks at the life as a game, or life as a drama, or as a movie. And that is when we get liberated. What is this liberation? Liberation is not that we die. Liberation is not that we leave the body. Liberation is that this mind no longer has any power on us. We are no longer reacting to any of the attractions and repulsions of this world. And we are now free. We are free. And when a choice comes between, we have a time, right? We have a certain time allotted for us in our life, and we don't know when that allotted time is over. Where am I putting my effort? Am I putting my effort to reach that point where I discover and experience this truth? And we've given ourselves this target of 40 days to experiencing directly this truth. And are we, in these 40 days making that effort? Because as we said, practice, practice, practice. And if we are making that effort, and if we are truly desirous for it, and if we totally believe in it, then of course we will be liberated from the clutches of the mind, because it's the mind which is coming in the way in our experience of our reality. It is the mind which creates a delusion. It is the mind which keeps us attached. And it is Satsanga. It is the company of the seekers of truth, the companies of teachers of truth, which will help us to make this journey, will help us to break this bond of the mind, will help us to start experiencing the reality of the self, the truth of the self. So that is the mahima, or that is the greatness or the importance of Satsanga. And all the masters have said that if you are engaged in Satsanga, and if you surround yourself with this truth and this message, so our Satsanga is not just for this 30 minutes that we are meeting every day. And that is why I have been requesting all of you to keep a journal for these 40 days and take down your notes and start reflecting upon what we have discussed, during our sessions, and ruminate about it, reflect about it, and then marinate yourself. Marinate is when you remain in those thoughts for the whole day, and you will see a transformation is already beginning to creep in. A change is already starting to take place. These methods have been given by the seers and our ancestors. And that is why our Sanatana Dharma, our masters, have been bringing this eternal, immortal knowledge of the self, and this immortal nectar man has been provided to by the wisdom of our ancient gurus, and is being brought to us again and again through a reminder as a satsang. This is what helped me, this is what my master brought into my life, and this is what he encouraged me and told me is my role in this lifetime, to bring it to all the others who are seeking for it, who are yearning for it. And this is the parampara. This knowledge, this wisdom flows from one to the other, and as more and more lamps get lit with this wisdom, with this knowledge, each lamp in turn starts to light many more lamps. That is the mahima, that is the greatness of satsanga. And I can keep talking about the importance of this for days, because to me this is the biggest gift given to us. And that's why in the gurukulas of ancient India, the guru and the disciples used to live together, and they used to have this experiential process, and they used to constantly be engaged in dialogue, discussion, and practicing it till it became a way of life. The student never left the Gurukula, not even for a summer vacation or a Christmas break or a Diwali break for home. They stayed in the Gurukula in the presence of the master for the next 10, 12 years of their education, till they became virtuous, till they became embodiments of the truth, till they became egged in that oneness. And we do this once a week, and we do this now for 40 days on a daily basis. So I would encourage you to deeply think about the power of this, and also I would like you to reflect upon the change that it has already brought in you. So maybe today, at the end of this, you might want to say where you were 6 months back or a year back, and what satsanga has done to you in your life, and therefore you will understand for yourself through your own experience the power of satsanga. So with that, I come to my session for day 6, and now we have built the whole foundation. The base camp is ready with all the tools and all the understanding of what we are employing and what we need in this journey. And from tomorrow onwards, we start actually taking the step forward into the experience. So thank you to all of you for being here, and thank you to Divine Consciousness for bringing all of us together, and for making this happen. And as always, the words are coming from there. I truly have no idea till I listen to it sometimes myself to understand, what this consciousness is expressing to all of us. So thank you, and God bless. Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.